Welcome to Muck Killa's Talking Black. Hello, everybody. My name is Killa.
I'm Muck the Empath. Thank you for joining the conversation. Come on in and have a seat in the room with us.
We got a lot to share with you tonight. And, this being our first podcast, we just want to share a little bit about who we are, what the show is about, the whole creation idea, and see if we can't get some people to engage with us and share a little more. Muck, what you got?
Hey, we talking black. Black
Already.
people.
Already.
Talking to black people about being black and how we can help navigate this system better for all of us. Right now, it's been a critical time as far as the Black Lives Matter movement, everything that's going on in the country. There's a lot of people out there talking about this. So I know we're not the only ones, but we wanted to join in the conversation because everybody has an opinion about what we can do as black people in order to make our situation better in this environment. But we got to hear everybody's point of view, and it's a certain way that we all talk that we know we understand what we understand. So we're going to say it in a way talking black.
Yeah, and so we also have a commonality, a foundation of hip hop, and so we all grew up on it. We got our own favorites, but the show and the idea is about you and us sharing information. So we're gonna get into it. Typically we always start with a call, and we just really just have a conversation with one another, and we want to bring you into that. And whatever ideas and information you want to bounce off of, hey, Queen, thanks for showing up. And whatever we get into, let's engage each other. If you got some questions, something we can share with you based on our experience, we'll definitely do that. So, Muck, tell them why we talking black, man. What's all this really about?
What's this all about? So, if you know hip hop and you love hip hop, you might know this bar. If you do know who said this, let me know. I'm outspoken. My language is broken into a slang, but it's just the dialect that I select when I hang. Who you think said that?
Special Ed, man. Come on now. We know that. We know that out here.
Yeah, but he said something that was real profound in there. We talking a certain slang in our neighborhoods. I don't care if I'm from the country. You hear twang from Texas, that Texas accent. That's from New York, they got their style. But we can all recognize when somebody's speaking their truth. And when
right on.
Versus when you go to that workplace,
yep,
and you talk a little differently to those folks than you talk when you're at the crib.
Definitely. Why we do that though? Why we do all of that?
Trying to fit into a system that was not designed for us to be there in our full blackness. And blackness means a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
Well, I'll tell you what has Talking Black done for you?
Talking Black has allowed me to be free.
Right.
So when I'm with the homies and I'm talking the way we talk, it comes off authentic because it's real to me.
Right.
Talking to those other people and in other environments, you have to switch it up because it's a code that's lived that way.
Right on.
And that's fine. But we have to change everything that we're about in order to fit in that sometimes. It's been a lot of times I've been sitting in the car, right? Before you go into a meeting and you like, man, you got to throw on that Jay-Z to get you hyped to go into a different environment that wasn't really made for us. So me and you started just talking and rapping about things that would happen to us in the corporate environment.
Yeah.
Just talking real authentic, real truth, challenging each other's mentality, challenging our philosophies and how we were really engaging in the system.
Yeah.
And what was working for us, what wasn't working for us.
Well, wasn't working.
Yeah. And it's a lot. I mean, just bouncing off ideas and being truthfully honest with one another about what's going on. No, we ain't holding no punches. We wasn't lying to ourselves. And if we started lying to ourselves, we would call each other out on it. And
the only way to grow is to be honest with yourself, right? I mean, you can't really have a fantasy you living in your head and then trying to do something different in real life, right? I mean, it's all the same, right?
Yeah, no doubt. But we tend to do that. because we are out in environments that we're not comfortable with. So when we get in comfortable situations, we tend to still kind of protect our egos and not be authentic with people. And I found in you somebody outside of close family members that would listen to me and understand me and challenge me. And it just helped me grow so much. So we decided, man, what if we could bring more people into the conversation?
And that's what we're doing. We're talking black, right? I mean, you know, you're right. I mean, I'll just start with me, man. You know, I grew up in Richardson, Texas. You know, I come from a long line of community people in my family, you know, throughout, you know, whether it's religious or just being involved. And, you know, my parents had a lot of influence on my life. You know, they was able to get me involved in African history at an early age. So I got to learn that African history changed my perspective on everything. I started questioning, asking more questions. And, you know, at the same time, I'm playing football and having success on the football field in high school, junior high and high school. And, you know, if it wasn't for the love of my family, I wouldn't have made it to college, right? I mean, because I wasn't the best student.
Yeah.
You know, I had withdrawn from school because of you know, I wasn't feel like it was a place that they wanted me to be. You know, there wasn't a lot of people in class that looked like me. Yeah. And, you know, I was relegated to basically the only engagement I could have was class clown.
Hey, let me ask you this. When did you first realize you were black? Or can you remember when you first realized you were black in this country?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't necessarily what I experienced externally. It was going on at home.
Okay.
And so consciousness, my name is, you know, Akili Johnson, right? Akili Marquis Johnson. Akili means conscious, Marquis means king. So when I was born, my pops said he held me up, you know, is that roots?
Like,
roots, yeah. You know, behold, there's nothing greater than yourself. And so, you know, I'm from a small town in the Midwest, and, you know, shout out to my family in Rock Island and New Orleans and all over California, but nonetheless,
Crescent City, what's up?
Right on. Shout out. So basically, you know, I guess it was from that moment I knew I was black. I mean, I knew that, you know, there was expectations of me to do things that, you know, that you know, just basically give me a good life. And so my pops, my mother, and my father were very instrumental in my identity, in helping me stay on a path of, you know, they gave me a lot of heartache for not getting good grades growing up, but basically, you know, I got this self-knowledge and the self-confidence from learning African history. So how about you, man? How did you start out as a shorty, man? And you know, what shaped your view?
Yeah. So I'm originally from East Texas. I was born in a town called Pittsburgh, Texas. Shout out Pittsburgh, Mount Pleasant, Texas. The two neighboring towns in the Northeast Texas area. My mom was from Pittsburgh. My dad was from Mount Pleasant. They met, kind of hooked up. And I kind of grew up there till fifth grade. Actually, the kindergarten. I went to kindergarten in Pittsburgh. My parents had moved to Dallas in order to start working and trying to find a better life, because job opportunities in the country is not a lot of job opportunities.
Right on.
Moved up to Dallas. And then, halfway through kindergarten, I moved to Dallas, and I'm the youngest of five. I got older brother Richard, my sister Latara, my brothers Roro or Cecil, and my brother Boo Rodney, and I'm the youngest of all those. We got three different daddies in there. The first three got this one daddy. My brother Boo, he has a different father, and I got a different father. So we were from a blended family, and a lot of the time, my mom was a single mom. You know,
man, that's crazy. You know, I have a blended family too, man, and I got you know, two older sisters that have different mothers. Yeah, and then the last three have you know, me and Jalea Halisi have the same mother, and then everybody's got the same father. So my dad has two other daughters. One from a previous relationship, and then another from a previous relationship, and then my mother. So Yeah, man. I never knew that, bro. So
Yeah.
I'm learning some stuff about you too. I mean, I know your brothers and sisters, but
Yeah.
very similar background. So growing up, that blended family gives you a little shifting, a little flexibility.
Yeah. Hey, we find that a lot. And that it's some common threads that happen throughout the Black community,
For sure.
especially if you grow up poor, Black, and if you're in America, whether you're in the ghettos, in the cities in the Northeast, or whether you're in the country, there's a shared experience that all Black people know that, man, syrup sandwiches, racing in the street with no shoes, it's just water busting up in the fire hydrant to have parties in the summer. It's just a lot of things that we do that connect us. And hip hop was the first thing that let me know that there were other people like in New York that was going through the same struggles we were going through, And when LA jumped on the scene with we started realizing, oh, them cats in Compton or them cats in South Central, they having it bad too. H-Town came out, as far as Houston, Ghetto Boys and Jay Prince, what they were doing down there.
No doubt.
And we said, man, the world is a ghetto. You thought you kind of alone in this place, but it was a shared experience that we was all having it. And when I started figuring that out, I said, I'm seeing a pattern here, and something doesn't seem like it's for me in this country. And I think I want to say I was in the country, everybody know each other. So even though there's racism and it's strong, but it's not really something we even think about. It's so common in the country that you don't even think about it.
Right. It's just part of the experience, right?
Yeah. I was like, I think I was 5 years old and we were coming from a football game, Pittsburgh game. And this before I was in school. And I remember getting chased. There was some kids, white kids in a truck, flying Dixie with the rebel flag, screaming niggas, like kind of chasing us with the truck. And I remember cousin Riri dragging me. We was all running and scattering. Those are things that I grew up in. Flying Dixie in Mount Pleasant was a normal thing for us to see a Confederate flag. Wasn't no big deal to us.
Y'all had one at y'all house?
Hey, might as well. It might as well have been there. They had They had like a KKK rally downtown. Wow. It's a lot of things going on, and you realize, wait a minute, why is this happening to me? Is it because I'm Black? You know what I'm saying? So, you just start thinking about that stuff.
No doubt. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, and just growing up, and having to run home because people was trying to bully you. Because I was actually a big kid for my age, so. The 16-year-olds in the neighborhood wanted to fight me because, I was just as big as they was. So, I thought it was, a racial motivated act. I didn't really know nothing because they just treat me differently, right? So, the whole experience was something that I learned from, and those lessons I'm still using today. So, Tell me a little more about this experience that we having, right? I mean, we talking about these what do we have in store for our listeners? The people that are out there, and shout out to those that have made some text messages to us. We're gonna get to you in a minute. We kind of want to share a little bit about why we wanted to do this show and what you're gonna get out of it. So Muck, tell me a little bit about what people gonna get out of listening to this.
So, like I said, it's really the conversation. It's the conversations that we have about what we can call it. We can call it the system. We can call it white supremacy, racism. We can call it the man. We call it a lot of different things, and I think that's part of the problem. We call it so much, we're not really identifying what actually it is that's happening to us. For 400 years. It's 500 years now that we've been searching for a liberation as a people.
Right.
And we've had some great thinkers, some great doers, some great revolutionaries come through, leaders. But I still find that we're right back in the same place in 2020 that we were in 1968. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing. So are we in a loop? Or are we advancing?
Because
Yeah, people say we moving forward.
Yeah, I would say it started, back in 1886, in when we were supposedly freed by Lincoln, right, with the Emancipation Proclamation.
Yeah.
And so, for me, it's deeper than that, and there's a whole lot of history behind where we're at today.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I understand that we're here to kind of entertain and share stories, but there's also a realistic aspect to the life we're living, and we want to definitely share that too. We want to share some of the history and some of the tools that you can use in your daily life that we've used in our daily life. Like Muck said, we're working in corporate America, and we'll share a little bit about that too. That's not why we're here, but we want to definitely make sure that you get some value out of our conversation, right? Like what we're talking about, and that's really what's grown us from the time we met in college, right? So we go back to TCU, and I was a freshman when I met Basil, and you just clicked like day one, and always stayed in contact with one another.
I used to beat his ass in Madden every day. That's in college football. That's gonna tell the truth.
Propaganda. You gonna learn about that word propaganda. People are always trying to make it seem like
I was on them sticks getting at you.
I
you try to have Marvin. You try to have Mullins come over and play me. Mullins with his. Man, I don't know if that boy ever lost a game on a video game. That's one of the best video game players I ever met.
He was my boy because I stick Mullins on him. It wasn't nothing happening.
Yeah.
So but yeah, so we go back way back to college, and we play ball together. It's a time of self-discovery, really. And then I left TCU. I transferred and went to another college.
Why you do that?
Oh well, I wasn't taking care of my schoolwork. I wasn't going to class. I thought that life was but a dream, and realizing, the real reality is you got to do the work in life. And that's the lesson I had to learn at that time so that I could grow.
Yeah.
And life has been great since. Like, all the experiences that I've had have built on one another. I appreciate you sharing, making me share that, because, I wasn't going to class. I wasn't doing the things I was supposed to do, but yet I was expecting to be a part of the team.
Yeah.
And one of the requirements to be a part of the team is you got to do your work, whether you're on the field and off the field. And if I could tell everybody that's one thing I've learned in my life is do the work, do your homework. I had a history even in high school before I got to college of not doing my work and just kind of trading on my ability and physical prowess. That'll run out at a certain point in time. And if you don't have your school to fall back on, you're gonna be hurting even more. And so I still went through some struggle, even though I got my degree, and I was still behind. I didn't have a career plan. I wasn't thinking about the future. I was just trying to get what I could get right now. And there's people that are planning their lives, and if you're not planning your life and you're going up against somebody who is, you're gonna lose, because they've already thought about what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
And you just kind of living, in the moment, thinking you about to get something going. So
what's up, Nanny?
Thanks for coming out. and so yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's the lesson I learned, is to be true and transparent with who you are.
Yeah.
So that you can reap the benefits that life has to give you.
Yeah. All right. So we're giving a background so you'll understand exactly where we're coming from. Most of the shows, this is the introduction show. So most of the time we'll be dialoguing with one another. We're just trying to lay the foundation so y'all understand where we're coming from, because some of my philosophies, definitely, I know people don't feel, but I've thought about these things deeply. The number one thing that I want to get out of this show is I want to tell everybody exactly how I feel, what I feel, so there's no confusion about where I stand and where I stand with you, if I happen to meet you. you know. So I just find it's a lot freer in my life. I'm kind of doing this for this is my art. This is my outlet, man, because I go around my house all day just thinking about these things. I talk and ask I'm talking to everybody about this. I'm talking to my wife. I'm talking to my kids. I'm constantly talking about the things that I'm learning. I'm seeing. I'm putting these pieces together, and I'm slowly seeing other people are putting these pieces together. You know,
right?
And I just think I got a funny way of looking at things a lot of times where maybe you ain't thought about it like that. Maybe you ain't looked at it like that, and maybe I'm off because I haven't told anybody. You know, nobody had a chance to challenge my viewpoints except you and Sheree or somebody I'm telling. But that's why I want to get this conversation out there so people can know what I think about the police brutality, or if there is police brutality. That's just an example. What I think about the education of our kids in the country and where we're going, the education of my kids, the future. You know, I want to have those kind of conversations so we can, and it's a safe space. It's a space where you can have your own opinion. I don't care what you believe, just as long as it's authentic. That's what we want to hear, because that's what we're giving. I'm giving you the real deal, Basil. Like I was telling you the other day, I said Basil Mitchell is really a person I created to deal in America. Like growing up, from everybody that knew me and my family, they all call me Mukhtar. Muck was my nickname for short. That's my middle name. My name is Basil Mukhtar Mitchell. Actually, it's Basil Mukhtar Mitchell. I didn't even know my name was Basil until I was like 3 or 4. My Aunt Libby, was the only one that ever called me that. And I used to ask, why she keep calling me that? Because everybody else was calling me Mukhtar, you know? So
you saying I've been saying your name wrong for the last 20 years?
No, I'm gonna tell you this. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna tell you the story. The story.
All right. Talk to me.
So you growing up in the country, everybody knows you pretty much. So I don't care who you are, white, black, they know. Everybody in East Texas know Mukhtar, right? So I hear somebody say Mukhtar, that I know they talking to me,
right?
So when we moved to Dallas, people start, you saying Mukhtar, and so they can't pronounce it. It's not a common name. They don't know me. So I'm getting laughed at. People are, kind of giggling at my name. And
right.
You're self-conscious as a kid. Like, man, well, I don't have a normal name. And like,
yeah, you start questioning yourself.
What's a normal name now? You know what I'm saying? What really is a normal name? Is John, Mark, Luke? What's a normal name?
Yeah, that's normal. That's normal.
And I was being ridiculed in a sense and being joked about it. People couldn't say my name right. They Mutar. They butchering that name. So
I overstand.
So I remember one time I went to a friend's house and I knocked on the door and they asked who was it, and I said Muck, and the guy said, "Oh, Mark." I said, "Yeah." I let this dude call me Mark for about 6 months.
Wow.
Because I'm like, that almost felt white. I almost felt good about that. You know what I'm saying? That's how my psychology was being messed up at an early age.
I
was, right? So I moved to Dallas finally. And what's up, Artie? It's Ken Folk. Thanks for joining the conversation. So when I moved to Dallas, they're just reading the roll because they don't know me. So the lady said Basil Mitchell. It was my science teacher said, Basil Mitchell. I'm like, present. At first I was like, Basil, because it was really pronounced Basil. Basil.
Right.
But when she said Basil, I'm thinking, that's kind of almost white too. Basil Mitchell. That sounds like a name I probably can get by with.
Right.
That's how I started using Basil Mitchell. When I moved back to Mount Pleasant, and the teachers, start reading the roll, they would say Basil Mitchell. It was years that people didn't know Basil Mitchell and Mukhtar were the same person. That they used to know me when I was 4th and 5th grade, and when I came back to Mount Pleasant in the 7th and 8th grade, and I started going by Basil Mitchell. people did not know Basil Mitchell and Muck Killa was the same person.
You had a twin.
I had a twin. No, they just didn't make the connection.
Right.
You know, but that's how I fell in. And then Basil Mitchell kind of became a professional persona because everybody in my family still calls me Muck or Mukhtar. And
that's why you said it was a creation.
Huh?
That's why you said it was a creation.
That's why I said it was a creation.
All right.
I mean, it was my name, but I started pronouncing it that way to fit in this society.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm with you, man. Keely Marquis Johnson is a Swahili name, and all my sisters, my younger sisters have Swahili names. My older sisters don't.
Yeah.
But they're still my sisters, just the same, and I love them. But growing up and having a unique name definitely gives you a unique experience on top of a unique experience, right? So no person sees the same life, right? So I'm the only person seeing life my way.
Yeah,
you're the only person seeing things your way. And so when we have conversations, it's about sharing those different perspectives and understanding and increasing our awareness about each other's perspective.
Yeah,
and we don't fight because we have respect for one another, and we listen to understand, not to respond.
Yeah.
And that's our motto. That's what we really sharing.
Yeah.
And when we engage with those out there looking for this type of information, you'll see your life improve because our lives improve based on our conversations, and we want to bring you into that world. So this is all about self.
Look, cuz.
Yeah, they showed up for you tonight.
What up, Tate? Huh? Hey, they know I like to talk, and I'm gonna talk. They know I do. When I go to the barbecue, they be like, "Man, this Muck finna talk, man. That nigga, we gonna talk about everything."
He about to get us.
I be thinking I'm right too. Nigga be like, "Nigga, you don't know what you talking about
at all." Yeah, no, but I mean that's the thing. Like, so when we have our conversations, we're listening to each other and helping each other correct, around just our understanding of different things. And so tell us a little bit about where we are right now, and how we got to the point of creating this platform to share.
Yeah. So we started it's going on 3.5 years now. We started meeting. Keely is in the finance world. I'm in the commercial real estate world. So both industries are pretty low in minority participation, especially Black men, Black people, period. But so you have those challenges where you're interacting with, corporate America, and you got to watch what you say, in a sense. So, Paul, what up, Paul? Yeah, but so you have those situations where, you have some challenges, man, and sometimes some people can rub you the wrong way at work, and the Black come out and you start talking, and they like, oh, I didn't know Basil said those kind of things, but it's real,
right?
When you find those moments where you're authentic, this is what my voice sounded like when I'm authentic, when I'm kicking and just talking. This is what I talk like,
right?
Me
too.
Yeah. So anyway, so me and you start meeting it was every Sunday, once a week, just to go over our business plan, go over our mentality, go over how best to
our goals
in our current roles and our families and just being overall development of ourselves in the society and being the best men we could possibly be. And during that process, we just started, like I said, challenging each other, like real talk, like, hey, is that really what happened, bro? Or did you really do that? And did you really have to do that?
Right.
And was that really what that man said to you?
Why did you take it that
why
way?
did I take it like that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we start having those kind of conversations and start rethinking. And it's just helped so much, man. It just helped so much in that. And it's so freeing to be able to talk to you, talk to Chief when Chief come through,
Right.
Be on the phone with Dre Bruce or somebody just talking about real stuff in a real way. And
right.
Like I said, we just think that if you come in the room, you're open, you're honest, and you really think and challenge yourself, that you're going to find out some stuff about yourself, that you'll know that you're strong enough and that you're powerful enough to overcome anything that they throw at us.
Yeah. And we were designed to overcome adversity, even though it's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a lot of things happening to us that are not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
You got police brutality, you got systemic racism, white supremacy, all these things that are happening in our world. We got to make sense of them. And so, that brings us to a point of how we actually came to understanding our current reality, and being able to correct or adjust our behavior to get more out of our experience, right? And that's led us here.
So tell me, how was your path? What was your path like in order to get to this point of thinking? I know your parents laid a foundation, but what were some of the challenges you had coming up with your philosophy today?
Yeah, I grew up in a house that was centered on responsibility and education. And, everybody was doing that but me in the house, right? My sisters were getting good grades. My father was knocking the ball off the cover. My mom was going to work here hard every day. And I'm really not getting it. Not putting my best foot forward. But I have this talent inside of me that I'm not really understanding.
Yeah.
And that led to me getting a scholarship. That led to me getting an internship at a top wealth management firm in college, when even my grades wasn't, where they were supposed to be. Even after I transferred from, to a different college.
You kept getting these opportunities in spite of that, huh?
Opportunities just kept coming my way, man. And it was really what I realized was my attitude. Yeah. I had a really good attitude about life. You couldn't really, I never had a bad day. Like, I never just really looked at life and was never down on myself. I was always optimistic and looking to the brighter day. And I knew that, things were going to come.
Hey, me too.
Right.
I was well rested because I slept a lot.
I mean, so there was a lot of abdication.
Set off a lot of class at TC.
Yeah.
I'd be happy in the mug when I wake up.
I would be mistaken if I didn't mention the Rickle and how broke I was after the Rickle and had to go back to the dorm room, and I couldn't go to class. I was too tired.
Yeah.
So
I was a class shut off king. He was like, "You going to class today, B. Mitch?" Nigga, class overrated, bro.
Well,
it's overrated.
You remember when we stayed on the first floor? So when we was on the first floor, if I knew you wasn't going to class, I definitely wasn't going to class. I said, "Oh, you missing? Hey, be missing the room sleep? Oh, I'm going back to the room."
Yeah. But hey, I'm honestly, man, I was not prepared to receive a scholarship academically, and not intelligent, intellectually. But
right.
Man, I ain't had no academic discipline, bro. I mean,
I had really bad study habits as well.
Yeah, I'm like, I barely made it out of high school as far as my hours. I skipped school so much in high school that I needed to make up hours. For the last maybe month of school, I had to go to Saturday detention every Saturday just to try to make up hours in order to graduate.
I would actually go to class, but I was not really engaged, right? So I show up and I had my book bag. I look like I was ready.
Yeah.
But I wasn't ready. And so, yeah, man, I hear you. I hear you.
But
when did you make the mind shift?
When I was 2 years after I was out of the league, and I realized I wasn't getting back in. I realized my career was over, and I was broke, and I was like, I ain't have no plan B. I didn't have no plan B. I was like, oh yeah. Oh, so Mr. Will Height was the principal at the school.
All right.
He went to Arkansas, and Arkansas was recruiting me. So he used to let me chill in his office. He was basically recruiting with Arkansas, And a lot of times, man, he was a good guy, man. He let me slide on a lot of stuff, man. He let me slide on a lot of stuff, man, to to get out.
Like what?
He was the one
slide on
laughing, but Mr. Wilhite was one to set me up on that plan to graduate by going to Saturday detention. So he hooked me up, man. Shout out to Mr. Wilhite. But what I was saying though, what was I talking about?
You talking about him letting you slide?
No, before that, because you asked me a question about. Yeah, don't worry about it. Go ahead. But yeah. Well, anybody out there remember what I was on before Artie asked me about Mr. Wilhite? Because I forgot. We have to cut these comments out for a minute.
No. It's all good. So you were getting back in the league.
There we go. So when did I realize?
We can't hear you.
Out of league. I've been working out for 2 years, just living off the money that I made, and working out. I got a few looks, tryouts, and I just wasn't playing well, man. I just was really not in a good space mentally. And
how would you describe it though?
Man, I made some mistakes because me and Charlia was engaged. We was about to get married. I thought we was about to get married. Funny thing is this too. One of my Green Bay coaches told me, he's like, I proposed to Charlia like during a weekend on the game, right? And wow. And the coaches and everybody was congratulating me. Hey man, congratulations, you're gonna get married. And one of the coaches came up to me and said, yeah, man, congratulations. When you get married? I said, we're going to get married in a year when she graduates. He looked at me and said, you ain't getting married. I was like, what? He was like, bro, that's going to be, he said something, seriously. And like,
right.
During the off season, I went to it was the AKAs had their national convention in Dallas. And they was out there thick. They was everywhere. Every party was going on was jumping. So me and my boys, we went out, and I was being because I was really in the word. I was really I grew up in the church. Shout out to Mount Olive Baptist Church, MOB, Pastor Roberts. See, that's how country boys do that. We going to church on Sunday, Monday.
Church.
Yeah, we going to church. But yeah. So I was really into the word and football family guy. That's how God family football. We was living our life a lot. And but we still young and wild. Yeah. We young and wild. So I'm trying not to go out. I'm trying to be good, because I got a fiance. And Russ and them kept coming, man. Muck, you been home all off season, man. Come kick it with us before you go back to training camp. And that's the weekend when, like I said, AKAs was out in Dallas, thick. So we went out to a club. I met a little girl, and I made some mistakes.
Right.
So I'm feeling really guilty in my spirit about this, And so I get signed by Denver. I'm out there in Denver, and I'm really self-conscious. It's like my spirit's broken because I've committed this sin. And it's just on my heart. It's kind of weighing on me. And I'm not playing well at all because I'm just not focused, man. And I'm still kind of banged up. I'm hurt because I was fresh off of surgery from Green Bay. And, man, it's just it seemed like everything just started happening wrong at the time. Everything, man. I wasn't playing well. I done screwed up my potential marriage. I done hurt this girl that has never done anything wrong to me. You know what I'm saying? It was just like,
yeah,
what am I doing here? So I had this idea. I was like, if I tell the truth, the Lord gonna forgive me, and He gonna make my career work out.
So you were thinking because you made a mistake, your career wasn't going right.
This why I think I'm playing bad. This is how I'm rationalizing this in my mind. I'm playing bad because
you ain't doing the right thing in your personal life.
I done sinned against God. That was my mindset.
Right.
So, the whole time. So when I realized I'm not getting back in the league, I'm out on the street. Nobody's calling. I'm running out of money. It's 2 years later, and I'm at this point, I'm pissed. I'm mad now because why have thou forsaken me, God? You know what I'm saying? Now I'm in like self-pity mode.
Yeah.
What up, big bro? Yeah.
What's up, Richard?
Yeah. So I'm just like in this real, I'm angry now, and but that ain't helping. It's not helping at all. And I'm just steady bumping my head on the wall about different shit. I can't keep a job. I can't do nothing right.
Right.
And it's just not going right, bro. It's just like I don't at this
point. Someone's got to be the reason. There's got to be a reason why.
It's got to be a reason. That's what I'm thinking, and I'm trying to figure out, man, what's happened to me. You know what I'm saying? I know it just can't be, fornicating, because I had been doing that shit from, ninth grade. I been that. I know I made a mistake, but I'm like, it couldn't have been that.
Right.
So I'm basically just pissed off at the world in a sense. And but fortunately, it's funny. Sheree asked me, I was staying with Bob and Sam, working out, still trying to get on. And Sheree had this dinner to go to with her job, like a Christmas dinner. And she invited me to go because I wasn't doing it. I'm sitting at the house. Sheree had invited me to go to the dinner with her.
Right.
And we went out and we had a really good time. It was right. Like me and Sheree been knowing each other forever. We grew up, went to Mount Olive Church. It's Mount Pleasant. Everybody know each other. We done went to high school together. We ain't never dated in high school, although she tried to hook up with me. She tried to give me some in ninth grade. No, I was a senior. She was a freshman.
Okay.
She tried. Check this out. So my girlfriend at the time and her boyfriend, they cheated together against.
Oh.
Yeah. So we was like, man, we ought to get them back. It's high school, so we ought to get them back. Yeah. No, it ain't. No. It's true. Look at it. Look, already talking, boy, stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about TMI.
But that's what the show's about, right? It's about, hey, what's happening, Richard? So the show's about being this real and sharing so that we can come to a better understanding, That's but we gotta respect the people involved. So we want to change the name to protect the innocent.
Yeah. So anyway, we ain't giving no names. We know who we are. But that night right there changed my life. Me and Sheree had this connection, man, that we just never knew we had, man. And we basically been together ever since,
Good say.
Oh. That's
right.
Hey, that's true. Facts. Hey, but anyway, so and that's when I really started thinking about making it, doing something good, because I was so mad, because my whole dream was this. The NFL is gonna get us out of poverty. I'm gonna help my family get out of poverty with the NFL.
Right.
The traditional story. So
right.
This is over. And at this point, I don't really know. There's no in between for poor people. Like if you're poor,
right,
you gotta play like either you poor or you rich. Because if you ain't never really had nothing, you don't know what a solid life look like. You all you see is rich people and poor people. We don't see. I didn't know what it took to be middle class. I didn't know if I could make it with a regular job. You know what I'm saying? Because coming out of the hood, being black and being, hip hop, where can you be hip hop in the mainstream society without and still make a great living outside of athletics and entertainment or owning your own business? And nobody in my family was a business owner, so all I knew was sports. If I can't rap or sing or play something, I need to be running that ball. And that was the mentality I had. I didn't know no other way. I didn't see any other way, and that's true.
Well, for me, it was the only way because I wasn't really participating,
Yeah.
which ended up coming back to bite me. I wasn't participating in school.
Yeah.
I was smart enough to do just enough.
Yeah, me too.
And really never tapped into that potential in intellect that I had to end up tapping into in order to be able to be responsible.
Yeah.
You know, I understand what you mean. I spent a lot of time, you know, chasing love and trying to get a specific girl to love me. And I spent 10 years of my life doing that. And when I stopped chasing love, and that's when things started to get better for me, along with, you know, the research and pouring into my historical knowledge of the people that the people that came before me that looked like me, that had the same nose I got, the same lips I got, the teeth, the eyes, and the big old head. You know what I'm saying? Like those people that came before me, and it's just really something I saw other people doing in other cultures.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people that I grew up with in Richardson, they had a deep culture, and you know, they stuck to their own.
Yeah.
And they had a certain loyalty to the people that looked like them. And that's something I recognized, you know, as a young kid. I think that the surprise to a lot of people was that I was paying attention to that, but wasn't doing my schoolwork. So, you know, ultimately, all that kind of came together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, I did not, man, English probably was my hardest class because you got to do a lot of reading, you have to do a lot of writing. And I hated to write in school, but I love to read outside. I love to read. I just want to read what I want to read. I ain't trying to read about that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it never made a connection to me. Like,
you never liked Milton's Paradise Lost?
Who? Exactly. I don't know what that is. Is that something they had us reading? I did like To Kill a Mockingbird, though.
What about Dante's Inferno?
I seen half of the movie, but I read about the concept, and the concept is pretty good.
I got you. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you know, my point is we spent a lot of time growing up learning about the history of those people who are in power now.
Yeah.
How much did you learn about people that look like you in school?
Outside of Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, the traditional, not much, man. I really didn't know much about anything past slavery.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was in the second grade, I remember raising my hand. I was so excited. First grade. I was in first grade. I was raising my hand, and the teacher asked a question, and I was sitting in the front chair. I raised my hand, and she acted like she didn't see me. And from then on, I withdrew from school. I said, you know, this must not be a place where they want me to engage.
Yeah.
Because I raised my hand, I looked around, nobody else was raising their hand but me.
Yeah.
And the teacher looked past me as if I was invisible. It was the first time, you know, and I came out of a very loving home, and I got sisters that love me. All my sisters, I love them. And you know, I go to this environment, and they kind of rejected me. So I'm feeling rejection for the first time. And as a kid, you don't really know how to reconcile those kind of emotions and feelings. And so I withdrew, and I was a bad student for the rest of my schooling.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got out of college, when I had to make a living for myself,
yeah,
that I started to really get busy with the studying, the reading, the writing, the speaking, the you know, the servant leadership, doing for other people, because I had a lot of examples. My roommate in college, right? He was always involved in student government and FCA, and you know, I wasn't involved in nothing. I just didn't have that. I wasn't interested at that point, because I felt that rejection. And so it's funny how we all come full circle, and we realize, you know, who we are. And when you really come into the understanding of who you are as a person, like who you really are, not your social security number or how much money you got in a bank account, but how you are and how you've been your whole life.
Yeah.
That realization is invaluable.
Yeah.
Really invaluable.
Hey, let me ask you this. So we got about the 50 in. Talk about Neely. Talk about how you come to how we met up with Neely, or how you came to know Neely, and give his background real quick.
Well, you know, I'm going to say this. Like when I was in high school, I was 17 years old. Hello, Dewela. I say that right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I was at 17 years old. I went to a Descendants of Africa course in Hamilton Park, which is a suburb of Dallas. It's an African American community. It was Hamilton Park Methodist, and there was a master teacher there who taught me 25 dynasties of civilization. I'm talking about pharaohs and pyramids and Akhenaten to King Tut to Nefertiti to Hatshepsut and so he taught us this information, and we read a lot of different books around that antiquity time frame.
Mm-hmm.
That gave me a map of history and why we're in this current status that we're in as a group of people. And there was one book that I read by a lady named Frances Cress Welsing.
Mm-hmm.
She was a psychologist. She is Umar Johnson's mother. So there wouldn't be a Umar Johnson if there wasn't a Frances Cress Welsing.
Yeah.
And so, and that's my opinion. That might not necessarily, what I'm saying, he might not say that.
Yeah.
But I'll say that she was a psychologist, a doctor,
yeah.
who was a medical doctor. She spoke about the mindset of African people that have gone through slavery, and her mentor was a guy by the name of Neely Fuller.
Yeah.
And Neely Fuller was her mentor. And if you ever listen to Frances Cress, you wouldn't think she had one, but he had a specific psychology. He was in the armed forces. He's from Oklahoma. He's a light-skinned black man.
Yeah.
And he was in the armed forces, and it was getting mistreated and didn't understand why. And so he starts to analyze racism, white supremacy back in the 50s. He wrote a book called The United Independent Code System Concept.
My line brother in the house, Foxy in the house. What's up, y'all?
What's happening? And so Neely Fuller, like I said, he's been studying racism, white supremacy since the 50s. He wrote a book, and he's revised that book over time. Next show, I'll bring the book.
All
right. He talks about a framework for our minds, and he says that there's 9 areas of people activity, and that's economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, religion, politics, sex, and war or conflict.
Yeah.
And when he said that, it helped me organize the different parts that we're experiencing in life.
Yeah.
So if you're in education, that's any kind of school.
Yeah.
It's formal or informal. Any kind of when you talk about entertainment, you talk about football, you talk about all kinds of TV, all kinds of entertainment.
Yeah.
And so all these areas, and he said if you're dominated in one area, you're dominated in them all because they're all connected.
Yeah.
And if we look at and the biggest thing that he said, or the 2 things that he said that I always appreciate, was that you need to determine for yourself if you're seeing these elements of racism, white supremacy. If you don't see it and it's not affecting you, we're not talking to you.
Yeah.
We're only talking to those people who believe that there's something that's happening to us as a group of people that's different from everybody else.
Yeah.
And so when he goes into that understanding, it helps me realize that the people were here before I was born that set up a system in their benefit.
Yeah.
And because of that, it really took me back to Francis Cress Welsing.
Yeah.
Said that people have fear that motivates their behavior, and the reason why our oppressor, is fearful of her. Yeah, Claude Anderson is one of those.
He's one of them too. Yeah. Pioneer.
But she said that people that don't have pigmentation or white people fear genetic annihilation.
She was on Donahue. I remember seeing her.
She was on Donahue. She was actually on a speaker series. Yeah. People know who this woman is actually. People that of different persuasions. So she said, "Hey, because we have racism because of other people's fear that black men are going to impregnate white women, and then those babies are going to be black."
Yeah.
And then, if there's too much intermingling, then they're going to wipe out the white race.
Yeah. And
what we don't understand, because we're such a giving people, we're such a benevolent people. We don't want a lot. We're not, all of us aren't looking for the limelight or trying to be a star. We just want to have a level of comfort in our lives. And what we realize is that people will mistreat us just because of how we look. And there's empirical evidence. So if you look at the prison system, if you look at loans that are given out, if you look at all these different areas, you'll find differences in who they give what to and who they don't give it to. And that's a fear that me and you have talked about many times. Like, if we come out and start telling the truth, we might be in trouble. Somebody might not like what we say. So, but what we're here to do is help mentor and share this information so other people can benefit and learn that, hey, if we sit down and have a conversation, both white and black, we can come to a resolution, because it's just one side not knowing what's going on with the other side. We see it every day.
Let me say this though, and this is why I've told you this a lot. And before we can go to the white people or the system or whatever we want to call it and ask for these things, we have to figure out why we don't like each other, because we have issues that we have within our culture, within our people that we have to talk about.
Self-hate, the self-hate, the realization that you're not, or coming to a conclusion that you're not good enough, and that nothing's going to change for you, so you don't even need to try. That's a mentality that we have as a people that needs to change.
And we people, because it's exception. It's a lot of individually. We're not talking about black people as an individual, but as a collective. The collective mind frame of black people, the conscious state of black people as a group in America is very disoriented. And I was thinking about this the other day. I don't think we are disorganized. I think we're more disoriented. It's like when you boxing and you get hit in the chin and you disoriented, now you don't know where you at. So you swinging wild trying to hit something, but you don't really have your legs under you.
I think it's both.
System do. It's like they hit you with, with the mass incarceration. They hit you with the poverty. They hit you with the police brutality. And you think, well, I got to stop this, or we got to stop that, when it's just one thing. And why we just can't look back and say, okay, what does all this got in common?
Right.
And it's just not America. Everywhere where black people and white people live together, it's the same dynamic. It's the exact same dynamic everywhere where we exist. And if there's somewhere where we live with Europeans and it's not like that, please share that with me, because I haven't found that and I've been looking.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's always some kind of mistreatment going on somewhere. And, we got to talk about that so that it gets better. Things don't get better if you don't talk about them or if you don't address them. Yeah. And that's one thing that, we've learned in our lives is that, when I'm presented with a challenge, I need to address that challenge. Yeah. I need to look it in the eye so that I can overcome it and I can grow from it. You know what I'm saying? So No, man, I appreciate you sharing that, man. I mean, what do you hope to accomplish with the show? I mean, why do people need to tune in? I mean,
Because it's the dialogue, man. It's like, okay, if I'm seeing this, and I just want to tell everybody my honest truth of what I think we're dealing with.
Right.
And I want to get the feedback from everybody in the community. If you feel any kind of connection to what we're calling the Black community, because honestly, I don't really know if that exists or not in terms of the definition of community. But if you feel any kind of relationship to the Black people, we want you joining in the conversation. We want you here so we can talk. We want your feedback so we can get your insight, because I may be completely wrong about this, because I'm aware that I don't know everything. I'm aware that I got some blind spots, but I need to tell you what I think I'm seeing. And if we can either confirm or deny it, and that way we'll all have an understanding. We'll know how to manage this stuff, man.
Yeah, but don't come with no half-baked solution though, right? I mean, if somebody had, like, I'm not listening to somebody who's just saying, "Oh, you just gotta believe." I'm not with that.
My solution been baking for about 45 years, and it's ready to pop.
Right.
I mean, I spent 45 years in this country as a Black man from the South that had been poor. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mother back. You know what I'm saying? I've lived it. If it wasn't me, I know it real close. Family members shot with gang and drug violence. People in my family on crack. Being in the projects. I done lived it all.
I've seen a lot of the same too. I mean, I love all my family, regardless of their challenges, and they love me through my challenges. So, I'm a support that. But my thing is getting awareness, right? Because sometimes we live lives and they're kind of narrow.
Yeah.
I mean, we just looking at one book to define a big universe of information. And when I started to develop and learn about all the different aspects of life, I kind of grew into a deeper awareness and understanding, and I can accept somebody's point of view and ask them questions to help them understand, more about that point of view, and me too. So, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. No, and like I said, it's the honest to God truth. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I'm trying to be direct about what I'm saying. And it's not pulling no punches about it. If I'm saying it, I'm meaning it, and that's just what it is. And that's what I'm expecting. I want to give people the license. I want to inspire people by my example of just being authentic, because when you ain't hiding nothing, can't nobody hold nothing over your head.
At all. Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah. So what you want to get out of it, bro?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just sharing, right? So, I got Neely Fuller, I got John Clark, I got all these people in my head that have shown me, where we've come from as a group. And I just want to have a positive interaction and share information, and hopefully we touch one life, in sharing that information, and they have a meaningful transformation. So that's all. I mean, we benefited from our conversation, so I hope other people do too.
So what we're gonna do? This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take each episode. We're going to take one of the 9 areas of people activity that Neely outlined, whether it's sex, war,
entertainment, education, economics, labor, law, religion, politics, sex, and war. We're going to take one of those 9 areas and go through that and other parts of our conversation, right? It's not just going to be about Neely and his stuff, but we're going to share that information and where you can get the book and all that stuff.
Yeah, you just going. That's just going to be the framework, so we'll stay on topic, because we love to both of us love to talk.
No doubt.
Oh, we actually over time that we were supposed to be today, but that's how we'll do it going forward. So tune in. We'll have that topic. Join in the conversation, and we'll be straight about where we think we are as concerning politics? What do you think about the Trump situation? What do you think about the Biden? You know what I'm saying? We'll discuss those things.
Yeah.
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 You know, and we're black.
We love y'all and tune in. We got some good stuff to share. And this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. Join the conversation. Talking Black. Don't hold nothing back. This ain't your white voice. This ain't your corporate everyday job that you got to put on.
You can be you.
Yeah. Bon Quincia.